Hello students, welcome to this session. I've just solved this NEET test 101 and this is the physics analysis. So this paper I think is a real testing paper for the NEET aspirant. It involves many calculative questions, many concepts which I think is far beyond the reach of a average NEET aspirant. So this might be, let's say, a nightmare also for some, and it's not going to be a easy sailing for almost all of you. So I've regarded 5 as tough, but frankly speaking I see most of you will find more questions as tough. 24 as medium, 16 were easy, 21 the data is the answer is not as per the data given, and there are many questions which actually requires very good concepts here. So this paper is going to be a challenge. Don't go by my classification of easy, medium, tough. Most of you will find it more challenging than what I have written here. So going by the way I do 16 and half of that, 12, 28 questions. If I do 28 becomes 110, but I'll still say if you manage 105 here, you are doing good in physics, and those who are really confident, they should get 140, 150. You can say 150 plus is actually very good in this paper if you can do it within the time. If in less than 1 hour, if you get 150 plus, you are doing actually really good in this. So let's begin. Question number 1. Find the minimum frequency of light which can ionize a hydrogen atom. So for ionizing a hydrogen atom, you know minimum energy is 13.6 eV. So that would be equal to h nu minimum. So this minimum frequency would be 13.6 eV. H you can write as 4.14 into 10 to the power minus 15 eV second. Remember this value, this in eV second, this works very well most of the time. So it is 13.6 upon 4.14 into 10 to the power 15 hertz. So it would be 3 point something. So going by the option, you can directly go for 3.28 into 10 to the power 15 hertz. Next, the energy required in eV to excite an electron from 2 to 4 state in a hydrogen atom, that you directly write as E4 minus E2. E4 you know is minus 0.85 eV, 13.6 by 16, and this minus will become plus. For 2 you know is 3.4 minus, it becomes plus 3.4. So 3.4 minus 0.85, that would be 2.55 eV. So you can go for option D. Next one, a body of 3 kg goes with a velocity 2i plus 3j plus 3 kg, 2i 3j 3k, collides with another body of 4k with moving with this velocity. The two bodies stick together, the velocity of the composite body. That means this is a perfectly inelastic collision. You can directly say m1 u1 plus m2 u2, perfectly inelastic. Therefore that would be equal to m1 plus m2 times v. So the value of the v comes out as m1 u1. So that would be, if I do 3 into 2, that would be 6i plus this would be 9j plus 9k. This is the first one term. The second term, 4 3s are 12, 4 2s are 8, 4 3s are 12, that is minus 12k cap, divided by 4 plus 3, that is 7. Okay, so what you will get, 12 plus 6 is 18i cap, 9 and 8 is 17j cap, and this is minus 3k cap by 7. That is what we are getting. So going by this, the option that is coming out is option B. That is accurately coming here. Now the next one. Coil has a self-inductance of 0.04 Henry, resistance of 12. When it is connected to this AC supply, what would be the current? So first of all, what would be XL? XL would be omega L. Omega is 100 pi 2 pi f into 0.04. So it is 4 pi. So what is the value of the Z? Z would be R square plus XL square, that is 12 square plus 4 pi whole square. So this is 12 square, and that is, I can write it as 144. 12 square you all know is 144 plus 16 pi square. Pi square is almost 10, so this is 160. So 160 plus 144, this comes out as root of 304. So the current IRMS would be VRMS, which is 220 divided by root 304. So 304 is between 17 and 18. So it would be, if I do 220 by 17, 220 by 17 will roughly give me, that is 170, and this is 50. So it is roughly 13, and that will give me, so it would be lesser than 13 but closer to that. And if I divide it by 18, 220 by 18, that will give me 12 point something. So it would be 12 and 13 between. So it would be 12.7 ampere. I can directly go for without doing the exact calculations. Next one. 2 kg stone tied at the end of a string 1 meter long is whirled along a vertical circle at a constant speed of 4. Speed is constant, remember. Tension has a value of 52 Newton when the stone is, again this is getting repeated. So that is, let's say first of all we check at the bottommost point. So at the bottommost point you see no tension is maximum, that is mg plus mv square by r. So if I check it, this is 20 plus 2 into v square, that is 4 square by r is 1. So it is 20 plus 32, 52 Newton. So it is coming like at the bottom, so you can directly, our first guess came out right. So we are lucky, otherwise we would have to search for other options. Pendulum has a length L, carries a negative charge, negative q on the bob, a positive charge plus q is held at the point of support. Then the time period of the bob, this is again a repeated one, this would be equal to 2 pi root L by g, because let's say this is the suspension point and you have this plus q. So whenever it is deflected from the mean position by an angle theta, because of this minus q, what we say, the tension will be here and the electrostatic force will also be here. So the torque producing force about the point of suspension is still mg. The torque, the restoring torque that is being, let me draw it again, the restoring torque that is being generated by mg will still be the same. That will still be the same. Mg is producing torque, so time period still remains as 2 pi root L by g. That will have no effect on this time period. Next one. A battery is charged at a potential of 15 volt in 8 hours when the current is 10 amperes. The battery on discharge supplies a 5 ampere for 15 hours. Okay, the mean terminal voltage during the discharge is 14. The watt hour efficiency of a battery is going to be. So first of all, what we can say, it was charged for 10 amperes till 8 hours. It was charged for 10 amperes till 8 hours. That means the energy supplied or the input that is given, that would be, you can write as P into T. P is 15 into 10 and time is 8 hour. Let me take it in 8 hour only. So that is watt hour directly. You can say 150 into 8, that is 1200 watt hour is fed. And what it delivers? It delivers is 14 volts, 5 ampere, 15 hours. So 14 into 5, that is 70. 70 into 15, that is watt hour. 15 sevens are, you know, is 1050. So 1050 watt hour. So percentage efficiency, you can make it out as 1050 over 1200 into 100%. So what you have, you are left with 12. If I do 12 105, it would be 8, I suppose. 8 is 96 and you are left with 90. 90 means again 7, and it would be 87.5%. Go for option C in this case. Next one. Ideal battery has an EMF 2 volt series resistance R connected in the primary circuit of a potentiometer of length 1, resistance 5. Value of R to give a potential difference of 5 millivolt across 10 centimeter of potentiometer wire. Okay. So what you require here, the length is 1 meter, so for 10 centimeter it is 5 millivolts. So for 1 meter you can directly say it would be 50 millivolts. 50 millivolts would be the potential over this. This is only over the 1 meter. Okay, so what we can say, this 2 will be divided between R and 5. So I can say the potential that 5 will get would be 5 plus R into this 2, and this is 50 into 10 to the power minus 3. So what you are left with, 10 upon 5 plus R is 15 to 10 to the power minus 3. So this 0. So what we are left with, this is goes there. This is 1000 when we take it here, and this becomes 25 plus 5R. So this R becomes 1000 minus 25, that is 975 by 5. And if I do 1, this is 47 is 195 ohms. So the value of R comes out as 195 ohms. Go for option C in this case. Next one. The current through the solenoid is changing in such a way that the flux through it is given by phi is some epsilon t. Okay, the solenoid is wounded by a loop having a resistance R1 and R2 as shown in figure. Then the reading of the two voltmeters V1 and V2, that will differ by. Okay, so how will it differ with this reading V1 and V2? You need to remember. So first of all, what we will have, because the flux is changing, so it will act as a battery, and the battery would be E, what you can write as minus d phi by dt. So that basically comes out as minus E. So that is what this is. Minus E minus doesn't matter because it would be some polarity. So it will be the only battery, and these two resistors will be in series. So what I can say, the drop V1 would be equal to E times R1 upon R1 plus R2. The drop V2 would be equal to E times R2 upon R1 plus R2. So the readings, differences of the two voltmeters in this case would be, if we write V1 minus V2, I don't know which would be greater or lesser. So it's better to write it like this, R1 minus R2 upon R1 plus R2. That would be the better thing to write. So as per this, I can go for option C in this particular case. Next, a circular current carrying coil has a radius r. The distance from the center of the coil on the axis where the magnetic induction will be 1/8 of its value at the center of the coil is. So again, first of all, what is the field at the center? You know, field at the center is mu naught I by 2r. And at an axial point, the formula that you remember is mu naught I r square upon 2 r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. So that should be equal to 1 by 8. So 1 by 8 into mu naught I by 2r. So comparing it, mu naught I 2 goes. So what we get, 8r cube is equal to r square plus x square to the power 3 by 2. Take whole 1 by 3 root, that is 2r would be r square plus x square to the power half. That is what we are getting. So what we can do here, so better it would be, you can write r square plus x square is 4r square, squaring it. So x square is 3r square, so x is equal to root 3r. So go for option B here. Again, this is repeated from previous test. Two long concentric cylindrical conductors, radius A and B is lesser than A, are maintained at potential difference V and carry equal and opposite current I. An electron with a particular velocity u parallel to the axis will travel undeviated in the evacuated region between the conductors, then u is. So again we did this question. This is again a repetition of the previous question. So first of all, let's say these two cylindrical conductors, if I look from top, it would be like this. So A is greater and B is smaller. So in the in-between region, if I talk about, the electric field will be only because of the current or the charge given to only the 1. So E is only due to 1. So in between region field would be, let's say if I give the charge to be lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught r, I can write. So the potential difference, if you have to write, that would be E dot ds from A to B. So that would be lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught. It would be ln terms and it would be ln A by B, you can directly say. So this would be the potential difference V. Now, so we have, why we write it V? Because we need to remember this E thing. So what I can write E in terms of V. So this lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught, I can write it in terms of V. So I can write it as V upon R, and this is what we have, lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught, and this is divided by ln of B by A. And what we know, to went undeviated. Now electron with a particular velocity parallel to the axis. Parallel to the axis means the velocity, let's say, would be like this. Let's say going in or going out, whatever. You know, the electric field will be radial. So electric field is radial. So this is perpendicular to this. So magnetic field should also be perpendicular to this. Then only we can have this particular thing. So parallel to the axis will travel undeviated. We know magnetic field will also be like this along the loop. So all three are perpendicular. So U should be equal to E by B for sure. So what we need, U is E by B. E you have given as V upon R ln of B by A, that you have written. And what is B? B in between, again B will only be due to the current in the first one. So I can write it as mu naught I upon 2 pi R, going by your Ampere's law. So what you get, this R and R thing get cancelled up. So what we are left with? We are left with 2 pi V mu naught I ln of B by A. So this is how we did it previously also. I'm doing it right now also. Next one. Circuit has a self-inductance of 1 Henry and carries a current 2 ampere. To prevent sparking when the circuit is switched off, a capacitor which can withstand 400 volt is used. The least capacitance of capacitor connected across the switch must be equal to, okay. So it carries a current of 2 ampere. To prevent the sparking when the circuit is switched off, a capacitor which can withstand 400 volt is used. So what we can have, that energy balance must be there. So energy balance, that means at peak it is getting energy half Li square, that should be equal to half C V square. That is what is required. So it should be able to hold that energy. So this capacity comes out as Li square by V square. I can write half and half get cancelled. This is 1, this is 4, and this is 16, 0, 0, 0. So what we are left with? We are left with 1 upon 4, I can write into 10 to the power minus 4, or you can write it as 25 microfarad if you solve it. This is option B here. The ratio of acceleration due to gravity at a height 3r above the earth's surface to the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the earth is, so at earth you know g naught is gm by r square. At a height h, this is gm upon r plus h, so it is r plus 3r whole square. So it becomes as gm by 16 r square. So you can directly say it is equal to g naught by 16. So the ratio is 1 by 16. Go for option C here. Next one. Particle is pulled along a curved surface very slowly. The coefficient of kinetic friction and between the particle and surface is 0.4. The heat generated during the pulling of the particle from the lowest point A to the topmost point B equals. Again, I think this paper is testing concepts which are not usually expected from NEET students. Here, this is a very standard concept taught to the students generally at advanced level. If you take a small displacement ds, what you have, this friction force that acts Fk, that would be equal to mu k mg cos theta, and you have this displacement ds. So the work done in this small part, you can write it as mu k mg cos theta, with negative sign you can write of course ds. So we, for the complete work on friction, we can write it as minus mu k mg and integrating ds cos theta. So if I do that ds cos theta, this ds cos theta will be the projection of this ds over this line. So if I integrate this ds cos theta over this complete path, this will be equal to this length. So irrespective of the shape, whether it is like this or it is like this, the work will be same if we take it very slowly, and it would be equal to minus mu km gl. L means this 5 meter. So this is minus 0.4. M what we have is 5 into 10 to the power minus 3. G is 10. L is again 5. So 5 5s are 25. 25 into 0.4 is 10. 10 into 10 100. 100 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. That is minus 0.1 joule. You can directly go for here. So it is talking about the dissipated energy, so directly you can write 0.1. No need to write that negative sign because that is being already included. So remember this particular concept. Now it is too much for NEET students, I should say, but what can I do if the question paper is asking? Metal sphere cools from 50 to 40 in 300 seconds. If the room temperature is 20, then its temperature in the next 5 minutes will be okay. So for the first 5 minutes, the drop is 10 degree. Time taken is 300 seconds. That is 5 minutes. That is K times theta average would be 45 minus 20. That is the first equation. Now for the second, let's say final temperature be, let's say T. So the final temperature be, let's say T. So what we will have, let's say it drops by delta T, I should write. So let's say it drops by delta T. So delta T by 5 minutes. And if I take this average, so average would be 40 plus 40 minus delta T, you can write, that would be the final temperature, that divided by 2, so that becomes 40 minus delta T by 2 minus 20, that is second equation. So now divide them, this goes, this goes, this goes, what you will have, 10 degrees Celsius upon delta T, that would be equal to 25 upon what I should write, 20 minus delta T by 2. So let me multiply it, yeah, let's say this is 2, this is 5, so it would be 40 minus delta T would be equal to 5 delta T. So this delta T terms is 40 by 6, 40 by 6, or you can write as 20 by 3 or 6.66 degrees Celsius it will drop, so it would be 33.33 would be the final temperature, you can directly say. Next, 2 moles of a certain ideal gas at a temperature 300 were cooled isochorically, that is constant volume, so that the gas pressure is reduced 2 times, it becomes half. That means temperature also becomes half, so it becomes 300 to 150, you can say, because at constant pressure, if pressure is half, temperature will also be half. The gas is expanded now isobarically afterwards till its temperature get back to original value. The total amount of heat absorbed by the gas would be. So in the first part, you will say Q1 would be N Cv, delta T would be minus 150. So it would be 2 moles, so minus 300 Cv. This is the first equation. In the second part, the heat isobaric, so it would be Ncp delta T, that would be 2 Cp into plus 150. So the net heat would be, that would be 300 Cp minus 300 Cv, and you know Cp minus Cv is R, so that is 300 R, and R you know is 25 by 3, so that is 300 into 25 by 3. So it is 100, 2500 joule you can go for, no need of Cv value here, without that also you can do. Next, gas does 4.5 joule of external work during adiabatic expansion. Okay, if its temperature falls by 2 Kelvin, then its internal energy will, okay, definitely it would have been decreased, and we know in adiabatic delta U is minus of W of adiabatic, so the change would be of the same amount, so it decreases by 4.5 joule. Go for option B, easy one for you. 2 short bar magnet with moments 400 AB, what is this AB? I don't know, ampere per centimeter square, 800 AB ampere centimeter square, are placed with their axes in same straight line with similar poles facing each other and with their centers at 20 centimeter from each other. Okay, So there are similar poles facing each other, so it would be like this. So the dipole moment would be opposite to each other, and the gap is 20 centimeters. Then the force of repulsion, between them would be, okay, so you have to find this force of repulsion, that is what you require now. So I can directly say here also the force of repulsion, I can, because it is a non-uniform field, let's say it will be 1, it will be 2, I can write that force as equal to P d by dx. So I can write it as m2 into db1 by dx, you can write, or db1 by dr, whatever you write. So db1 by dx, if I do this, would be that b1 at any distance x, you write it as axial position, it is to 2 mu naught upon 4 pi m1 upon x cube. So if I differentiate it with respect to x, it will come out as 6 mu naught m1, and it will come out as 4 pi x to the power 4. That is what you will have. So what the result ultimately comes out as, and this result will ultimately comes out like this. What we will have, this mu naught upon 4 pi, I can write it as 10 to the power minus 7, and this is 6 m1 m2, and now I don't know what to write this because it is ampere centimeter square. Typically what we write as I into A, so it would be converted into a SI unit. I'll converting, so 400 into, it would be 10 to the power minus 4 into 800 into 10 to the power minus 4. I think AB is some mistake here, and 20 centimeter square, 20 means 0.2 to the power 4. So what we are left with, 4, 4, 8, 8 and 7, 15, 15 and this 4, so 10 to the power minus 11. And what we have, okay, so we have taken these 2 0 also out, so 6 4s are, what we have, 6 4s is 24 into 8, and if I do this, this is 2 to the power 4, 16 into 10 to the power minus 4, so you have 10 to the power minus 7, and this would be 2, 12. 12 into 10 to the power minus 7, that we can write, and we know the relation between this dyne and force. If I know this relationship between force and dyne, so it would be 10 to the power minus. So I think there might be some interpretation mistake from my side. This might be some other unit, so whatever be, I am going by this 12 figure, so I'll take 12 dyne. I don't know, otherwise it is not coming 12 dyne. Maybe this is some other unit. I also don't know what would be the unit in CGS system for this magnetic moment. So I'm going with the figure, I'm going with 12 dyne here. Typically CGS units are clearly mentioned, won't be used in your syllabus. I don't know why they are using it. Particle of mass m and moving with velocity v describes a circular path of radius r when subjected to a uniform transverse field of induction B. The work done by the field when the particle completes one full circle. You know the magnetic field never does any work. This is the easiest one. Its work is always 0 because it always acts normal to the velocity. Boat covers 24 kilometers upstream, 36 kilometers downstream in 6 hours, while it covers 36 kilometers upstream and 24 kilometers downstream in 6.5 hours. The velocity of the current is, okay. So first of all, when it goes upstream, so let's say the velocity of boat with respect to river be, let's say x, we can write, or better, it would be more cumbersome, better would be, let it write v in upstream. V in upstream would be VBR minus VR, let it be x, and v in downstream would be VBR plus VR, let's say that is equal to y. So what we are given, the first case, the time would be 24 upon x upon 36 upon y downstream, that is equal to 6 hours. In the second case, 36 upon x plus 24 upon y is equal to 6.5. That is what you are given here. So you can solve for these two equations here. So how you can solve for them? So the way of solving for them would be, what you can do, let's say multiply this by 1.5 and subtract them. So if I'll subtract 36 by x, 36 by x goes, so it will become 36 into 1.5 minus 24 by y would be equal to 6 into 1.5, that is 9 minus 6.5, so that is 2.5, and this is 36 into 1.5 would be, what you can write, it would be 36 plus 18, that would be, you can say 54, 54 minus 24 is 30, 30 by y, so y comes out as 30 upon 2.5, so this is coming out as 12. So this is 12 kmph. This is what y, that means the sum of the two is 12 kmph. Now put the value. This 24 by x plus 36 by 12 is equal to 6. So this is 3. So 24 by x is also 3. So x comes out as 8 kmph. So what we have, sum is 12 and the difference is 8. That means they are 10 and 2. So the current speed is 2 kilometers per hour. Directly you can make it up. It is option C. Again, it's not that easy one for you, especially for NEET students, I can say. From the ground, a projectile is fired at an angle 60 to the horizontal with a speed of 10. The horizontal range would be, so horizontal range you know is 2u square sine theta cos of theta by g. So 2 into 100 cos 60 sine 60, it would be 1 by 2 root 3 by 2 reverse. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2, cos 60 is 1 by 2 divided by 10. So what you are left with, this 2 and 2 goes, this is equal to 5 root 3. If I am doing it right, it comes out as 5 root 3. None of the option is coming, and I have seen their solution. They have taken this as 20. So if you take it at 20, it will become 4 times and 20 root 3 will come, but I won't do this. As per the given option, I will say this is again a bonus. Already paper is not that easy, and instead you have this errors also. Okay, it might happen after 100 tests. It's tough to get questions every day. 150-gram ball hit by a force which acts on it for 0.1 second, thereby creating an acceleration of 20. The impulse of the forces. So the impulse of the force, what we can directly say, impulse is change in momentum. So 20 acceleration for 0.1, so velocity changes by 2 meter per second. So impulse would be delta p, that is 150 into 10 raised to power minus 3 mass into 2. So that is 150, 300, that is 0.3 Newton second. You can directly go for option C in this particular case. Next one. Block is pushed momentarily along a horizontal surface with an initial velocity v. If mu is the coefficient of sliding friction between B and the surface, the block B will come to rest after a time. So you can say acceleration directly would be minus mu g. Initial velocity is v, final will be 0. So you have to find the time. 0 is equal to v minus mu g into t. So t would be equal to v by mu g. This is perhaps the good one for you. Very easy one for you. Next. Nucleus emits 1 alpha and 2 beta. Resulting nucleus is, because 1 alpha, so this mass number will decrease by 4, so it would be m minus 4. We are left with two options. 1 alpha, z decreases by 2. Because of the 2 beta, z will increase by 2, so overall no change in z. So go for this option C. This is the answer you can tick. Amongst the three isotopes of neon 20, 21, 22, the nucleus with the lowest neutron to proton ratio. So lowest neutron to proton, what is happening? Neutron are increasing in the others. So the lowest neutron proton would be in 20 neon. That is a very easy one for you. The variation of the potential energy of harmonic oscillator is as shown. The spring constant would be. So potential energy is given like this. So it is a minimum at this point that is given to you. So what we have, this is change in energy. This change in energy, that is what you write as energy of the oscillation, half ka square, won't be 0.04, would be 0.03, because that is the change that is happening. So directly you can go for amplitude is 20 mm, so k would be 0.03 into 2 ampere, 20 into 20 and 10 to the power minus 6 I can write. So go up 10 to the power 6 into 0.06 upon 400. So 2 and 2, 4 will cancel up, so it would be 100 into 6 by 4. So this is 3 by 2, 300 by 2, that is 150 Newton per meter. So go for option B in this particular case. Again, it's not easy, I can tell you. Path length of oscillation of simple pendulum of length 1 meter is 16 centimeter. The maximum velocity is. Now typically this is not the path length we talk about in that sense. But if they have talked about, I can't help. So its maximum velocity is going to be, so because length is given, you can directly write omega is the root of g by L. So that is pi square by 1. So omega is pi. So you can directly go for V max would be equal to omega A, and it would be 8 pi. You can write centimeter per second. That is the way the question wants you to answer like that. The correctness of velocity with which an electron moves with velocity 50 meter per second is this. The accuracy with which position can be measured. So this is your classical case of your Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So what we can say, delta p into delta x, minimum case would be h by 2 pi, h by 4 pi, whatever you can write, it's up to you. So this is h by 4 pi, typically you write it. Typically it doesn't matter because we just order the estimations, and here the options are let's say they are also very different, so it won't matter, we have to just check the order. So this delta x accuracy would be h upon 4 pi into delta p is m delta v. So h is 6.63 into 10 raised to the power minus 34, 4 pi, m you write as electron 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31, and uncertainty in velocity would be 0.005 upon 100 into 50, so this is 0.005 by 2, that is 0.0025 I can write. So taking this power, this is 31, 34, so it would be 10 to the power minus 3, and if I do this 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 3, and if I write this, I can write it as 25 into 10 to the power minus 4 into 9.1 into 4.4 pi. So this is 10 to the power minus 4, 10 to the power minus 3, okay. So what we will be left with, we will be left with 10 to the power 1. So it is 66.3 if I am right. Let me check myself. Yes, it seems I am going right. Upon 25 into 9.1 into 4 pi, that is the uncertainty that you will be going to witness in this particular case. So I don't think any of this option, okay, let me check again. So 25 into 9 is 225, it would be approximately into 4, so what we can, 25 into 4 you can write it 100, so it is 0.663 I can write upon 9.1 pi, that is what you have. So 0.663 upon 9.1 pi, so this would be, let's say, approx 30, so approx 30, so whatever be the order, I'm just looking at the order, so if I do this, this would be 0.002, so the order is coming out as something of point something, so order will only be of 10 to the power minus 5, I can minus 1 I can make it out. It would be, if I do, let's say, do it complete, that is by 30, so it would be 0.0 and it would be 0.02 something like that, so it would be 10 to the power minus 2 I should get. So it is 10 to the power minus 2 order I should get. So for here I am getting 10 to the power minus 2 in this particular case. In this particular case I can write it as 10 to the power minus 2, none of them others, so I'll go for this, though I'm not getting that. So why I'm not getting exactly, because I'm getting half of this answer, because they have taken it at 2 pi and I have taken it to be 4 pi. It doesn't matter, because we have to just check the estimation, so it shouldn't be asked, it should only be asked in terms of the order, I think. But people ask, I can't help, people write it as h by 2 pi, some write it as h by 4 pi, whatever you wish, you can go for whatever your teacher has taught you. Sun radiates electromagnetic energy at this rate, its radius is this, the intensity of sunlight at the solar surface will be, at the solar surface will be, you can directly say this is power upon 4 pi rs square. So power is 3.9 into 10 raised to the power 26, this is 4 pi into r square, I can write it 7 square, I can directly do 49 into 10 to the power 16 for say saving some calculation time. So it would be 10 to the power 10 into 3.9 upon 49 into 4 pi. So this is 22 by 7 into 49, I can do like this, this is 7 again, so 3.9 upon what we are left with, 22 into 488 into 7 into 10 to the power 10. So what we will be left with, this would be again calculations are too much for a NEET student. 7 8s are 56, 56 and 5 616 into 10 to the power 10. So if I have to do this, this would be, I need 3900 something, so we need 10 to the power 3, so it would be 5 point or 6 point whatever you have into 10 to the power 7 sort of answer we will be getting. So I'll go for this option D, that is the closest in the magnitude or the approximation we can go for. Next one. If a capillary tube of radius r is immersed in a liquid, then the liquid rises to a height h. If corresponding mass is n, if the mass of the water that would rise in another capillary tube of twice the radius. So if it is twice the radius, we say no, h is inverse to r, so h would be half. So in the first one, the volume that is lifted, you will write it as pi r square h. In the second, the volume lifted would be radius is doubled, so pi into 2r whole square, but height is half. but still it will come out as 2 pi r square h. So that means double volume lifted, that means double mass is lifted. So go for option A. And if you will check, the potential energy change in both will be same because their height was double. So mg2h, it would be mgh, you can write like that. Cylindrical vessel contains a liquid of density rho up to a height h. The liquid is enclosed by a piston of mass m, area A. There is a small hole at the bottom of the vessel. The speed with which the bottom comes out of the hole is the liquid comes out at the top, not the bottom comes out. So take this point 1 and 2 and apply the Bernoulli. Both are at the same height. Pressure at 1 would be P naught plus this mg by A, additional pressure here, plus rho g h, that would be equal to P naught plus half rho v square. So this goes, don't apply v equal to root 2 gh here, otherwise you will not be able to get the answer. So it is root 2 mg by A plus rho gh upon rho, that is what you will get here. So going by this, okay, we are given in this term, so you can easily make it out. It comes out as mg by rho A. So rho they have missed, and no, it is given in option B, so go for B. Next one. If a ray of light in a denser medium strikes a rarer medium at an angle I, the angles of reflection and diffraction are R and R dash. If reflected and diffracted rays are at right angle to each other, the critical angle for the given paper the medium is. You can directly make it out. This is the condition for what you call as the Brewster law. So you can directly make it out. This tan I is equal to mu, so that sin I, that is sin theta c that you search for, sin theta c you search for is equal to 1 by mu. Typically you write, so, or let me write it in a better terms, because that might be some inverse factor that might miss you. So it is from a denser to a rarer. So it goes, and it is a rarer one, so it will go like this. So this angle is 90 degree. So what we have, this is I, this is I also, so this will be 90 minus I. So what we can write, this n denser into sine of I would be equal to n rarer, that will become cos of I. So what we have, n denser upon n rarer will come out as, or nr by nd, that should I write, or whatever you wish, keep it here only. Now for the critical angle sin theta c, you write this sin theta c, this n denser into sin theta c would be n rarer into sin 90, that is 1. So sin theta c is nr by nd. So put this nr by nd from above, this would be sin I upon cos I. So you can directly say theta c is sin inverse of 10 of I, or you can say that is 10 of r, you can write. So sin inverse 10 of r, go for option B. Be careful, options look very similar. Next, two white points are 1 millimeter apart on a black paper, viewed by eye of pupil 3 mm. What would be the maximum distance at which these dots can be resolved? Again, this is a repeated one. Let's say the separation between them is L, that is given, and let's say this distance be D. So the angle, this substance theta, that is equal to L by D, that should be greater than equal to theta min. So in limiting case, or you can write L by theta should be theta min, you know, is 1.22 lambda by D, that you all remember. So the value of the D would be less than equal to LD into 1.22 lambda. So just do this. L is 3 mm. L is 3 mm, no, L is 1 mm. Be careful, don't do the mistakes like this. 1 mm, that is 10 to the power minus 3. Diameter of the pupil is 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 3. 1.22 lambda, lambda is 500 into 10 to the power minus 7. So what we are left with, this is 10 to the power minus 5 and this is 10 to the power minus 6. So it will be 10 to the power minus 1 upon 3, 5 into 1.22. That is approximately what we can do. That would be, or if I have done some mistake or something, L by D should be greater than equal to 1.22 lambda by D, that is right. So D is LD 1.22 lambda. I'm doing okay. It is 10 to the power minus 9. That is a grave mistake I did. So 10 to the power minus 7 it would be. So it would be 10 to the power 1 into 3 and this would be 6 approx. So 30 by 6 would be 5 meter approx. Or not 5 meter approx. That is what we will go for. Go for 5 meter in this particular case. Next. Particle of mass m equal to 5 unit moves with uniform speed in the xy plane along the line. The magnitude of angular momentum about the origin. So whenever it goes at a constant speed about the origin on a straight line, just check when x is 0, y is equal to 4, when y is 0, x is minus 4, it would be something like this. So in this case the angular momentum will remain constant because line of action of velocity is always same, its perpendicular distance will always remain same. So for finding this perpendicular distance you can easily make out this is 4, this is 4, so this angle is 90 and this is isosceles triangle, so this would be 90, so it would, you can directly make it out, this angle is 45 degree, so this r perpendicular would be equal to 4 sine 45, that is 4 into 1 by root 2. So angular momentum would be mv r perpendicular about origin. So it is 5 into 3 root 2, this becomes 2 root 2, so 5 3s are 15, 30, 30 into 2, 60 units. Go for option B. You must have done such question, I suppose, in your practice sheets. Next, mass is whirled in a circular path with constant angular velocity, angular momentum L. If the string is now halved, keeping the angular velocity the same, the angular momentum is. So L you can write it as, one way is mvr you can write. So in the second case, m is same, v, omega is same but radius is half, so it becomes v by 2, and the radius is also becoming r by 2, so L will become L by 4. You can directly go for option A. Next one, the band gap of the insulator, conductor, semiconductor, are this the relationship? This is the easiest one. This has the largest, this has the least. So EG1 is maximum and EG3 is minimum. Go for EG3 is minimum, EG1 is maximum. So what we have, EG1 is maximum, EG3 is minimum, so I think it should be B, not A. It should be B, not A. Conductor is least, they have taken conductor to be 2, sorry, I am doing a mistake, conductor is 2 and semiconductor is 3, okay. So just to go by their subscripts, it sometimes become difficult. So this is insulated, this is conductor, so EG2 will be least, so EG2 will be least, so this is option A for this. You can go for like this, otherwise no option is matching, other like in the perfect order, so this is the only one we can go for in this case. Which logic gate is represented by the following combo of the logic gates? So this is what we called as, if I see till this, it is called as bubble door, and bubble door is NAND, but again this bubble is coming, so this will be AND gate. So go for option C if you know that De Morgan theorem, and if you don't know that De Morgan theorem, now then that always I tell, go by your best friends, that is the truth table, A, B and Y. Let it 0 0 0 0 means 1 and 1, 1 and 1, OR will give 1, so NOR will give 0. So 0 and 1 next time. So 0 and 1 if I try, this becomes 0, 1 and 0, OR will give 1, so NOR will still give 0, so 1 0 will also give 0, last is 1 1. So if you try 1 1, what will happen? This is 1 1, this is 0 0, OR will give 0, so NOR will give 1. So this is AND gate, that is what we did from the De Morgan. You can go for this method also. V versus T curves at constant pressure P1, P2 for ideal gases are shown. So what you will have, we know V can be written as NR by P into T. So for the same amount of gas, this slope is going to be inverse to P. So lesser the slope, more the P. So P1 is greater than P2. That is what you can write from this logic, assuming moles are same. Which one of the following pair doesn't have similar dimensions? Tension and surface tension. Yes, because one is force per unit length. So go for option A, no need to check other ones. When sunlight is scattered by atmospheric atoms and molecules, the amount of scattering of light of wavelength 880 nanometer is A. Then the amount of scattering of wavelength 300 nanometer would be. So we know the Rayleigh's law of scattering is proportional to 1 upon lambda to the power 4. So it has reduced, so scattering will increase. So let's say it was A, this is A dash, this will come out as 330 upon 880 to the power 4. So it is basically 3 by 8, you can make it out. So A dash would be 8 to the power 4 upon 3 to the power 4 into A. So 8 to the power 4, 64 into 64, this is 3 to the power 4 is 81. So it would be slightly lesser than 64, and if you do, this will come out as 50.5. So this is 50.5A. Next, star is moving away from the earth with a velocity of 100 km per second. It's where the velocity of light is this, then the shift of the spectral line due to Doppler effect will be. Now this is a very small article given in your wave optics chapter of your NCERT. typically questions are not asked, but they have asked. So here the shift formula is delta lambda is v by c into lambda, where v is the speed, and if it is approaches, we say it is the frequency will increase. That is what we call blue shift, and the other one is called the red shift. This is the type of things we talk about. So v is 10 to the power 5 meter per second into 3 into 10 raised to the power 8. Lambda is 5700 angstrom, so that would be the shift. So what we have, this is 1 upon 3 into 10 raised to the power 3 into 5700 angstrom. So it is 5.7 by 3. That would be 1.90 angstrom. That is the shift you will see. It is going away, so it would be the red shift if I recall correctly. Next, 3 waves of equal frequency have amplitude 10 mm, 4 mm, 7 mm arrive at a given point with a successive phase difference of pi by 2. The amplitude of the resulting wave, you will first write it as 10 mm. This is A1. Second one arrives with a phase difference of pi by 2. This is 4 mm. This is A2 I can write, and third one is 7 mm, like this. So first of all I have to add vectorially. This is 10, this is 4, this is 7. First of all add these two, 10 and 7. It would be 3 here, 4 here. So if I add them using vectorially, it would be 5. So the resultant amplitude would be 5. I have just done by the phasor approach. Not tough if you know that. The equation of progressive wave can be given by this. The frequency of the wave is omega t. Omega is 660 pi. So frequency is omega by 2 pi. So 660 pi over 2 pi. So this is 660 by 2. That is 330 hertz. Go for A in this case. Next. A body of 5 kg is thrown vertically up with a kinetic energy of 490 joules. Height at which the kinetic energy becomes half of the original value. So it becomes half of the original value. That means the speed become 1 by root 2, or you can say potential energy gains by this much. So potential energy gain would be equal to half of this. So mgh at that height would be equal to 245 joules. So h would be, you can directly say 245 upon ms5g is 9.8. So 9.8 upon 5, you write it as 49. 49 to 45, that is exactly 5 meters. So it would be 5 meters. You can directly go for option D. Next, last one. Body constrained to go in y is subjected to this force. The work done in moving a distance 10 meter along y, so only y will be effective, xz components won't be effective. So 15 into 10, 150 joules. So that winds up our paper. Last question was a relief, but frankly speaking, this is really tough for a NEET aspirant. Thanks for watching.